A surprising move could be incoming for this Miami Heat organization as brand new odds have just been released, making them one of the top favorites to acquire veteran big man this offseason in Kevin Love. I'm here to break down whether or not it seems like Miami is working in this direction to acquire more of a veteran type of player to sit on the end of the bench and play that role of a player coach in a way of a role model for these younger players, or if they're trying to go in a different direction. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest. So let's get right to it, breaking down, will we see a Kevin Love reunion in Miami? Now, if you don't know, Kevin Love has been playing for this Miami Heat organization for the last 3 to 4 years, but due to a trade made in the last week, bringing Norman Powell to this Miami Heat organization, Kevin Love has found himself on the Utah Jazz organization. Now, when this trade initially happened, we brought you guys a video on this channel breaking down the entirety of this trade, and one of the ideas that we had was that Kevin Love was not going to last in Utah. Kevin Love is now, 41 years of age. He's been playing a long time, and it feels like the only real reason he is in the NBA outside of being more of a role model and a veteran presence on the end of a bench, but is to compete for a championship, be a valuable piece on a championship organization where he can coach / be a role model to these younger pieces that have not quite been there at least more than once, where they can gain more information from someone who has been to constant long playoff run after constant long playoff run in championship game after championship game, whether it is for an Eastern Conference title or a conference title, I should say, or flat out an NBA championship. Kevin Love has been there. He's a very experienced player. And back in the day, and I shouldn't even say back in the day because it was only 10, 12 years ago, Kevin Love was one of, if not the best big men in the entirety of the association. And if you are extremely young and you do not know what I am referencing, please go look up Kevin Love's highlights from when he was a Minnesota Timberwolf, because if you don't know about that section in highlights of his career, you are missing out, because this was Jokic before Jokic. And if you don't believe me, here's some of the stats. They're harder to read because the font is kind of small, but if you go back and look at his third year in the association, 2010-2011, he led the league in offensive rebounds, total rebounds, defensive rebounds, while also being a damn good offensive threat as well as a great facilitator. Kevin Love was one of the best, if not the best, outlet passers I have ever been able to witness up to this point in my life through 25 years of watching professional basketball, and really basketball in its entirety. Kevin Love, coming out of the university, or I should say out of UCLA, was great. He went to Minnesota. He was phenomenal, and he was a dominant force on both offense and defense, and he was transcendent. He really was the Jokic before Jokic, and now Jokic is doing things that just seem alien-like, so it's hard to compare the two, and the way the game has been played over these 2 decades has been drastically different, has changed drastically, so again, it's hard to compare. But if you do not know about the Minnesota Timberwolves version of Kevin Love, which is not what you would be getting if you signed him now, I'm not arguing that. I don't want you guys to assume that's what I'm arguing. But I'm arguing that he is more experienced than a lot of the guys walking around currently as professional basketball athletes and as a role model on the end of the bench, someone who's only going to play 10 to 12 games and only log, 8 to 10 minutes in those games unless crazy injury or some substantial factor or element takes place where he has to go in there and play an ample amount of minutes. That is not what you're going to get from Kevin Love. He's going to be a complimentary guy that fills in a handful of times throughout the season, but really is just a role model to these younger guys, really anyone under the age of 30, 35, because of the experience and the age that Kevin Love maintains. Now, based off the odds and what we are citing initially in this video, Bovada Official, like always, went on to post new odds for Kevin Love and where his next team would actually be, where Miami finds himself as the 4th best team, the 4th favorite, if you will, to land Kevin Love going into this up-and-coming 2025-2026 NBA season at plus 375. Now, that's behind teams like the Lakers as well as the Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. It seems like the Cavs are looking to go out and acquire another big man after giving up what they did earlier this offseason. It'll be interesting to see how it all ends up playing out. But right now, Cleveland and the Lakers would be the 2 teams that I circle here on this list. I'm not sure if Miami is going to go in this route. With the current roster they have constructed and the big men they have available, I'm not sure if Kevin Love is really going to have a real role on this team outside of a coach slash player. Now, we saw Udonis Haslem do this for years, but Udonis Haslem played for 22 years in the association, and all 22 came for this Miami Heat organization after graduating, or I should say, after being drafted out of the University of Miami, where he played his college ball. I doubt that Kevin Love is going to really play the role as someone like Udonis Haslem after we saw. No one is going to replicate Udonis Haslem in the career that he had and really the role that he maintains still with this Miami Heat organization. Is Kevin Love a good option? Absolutely. But because of the way this roster is built, as well as the front office and just the coaching staff in general, with Udonis Haslem and Alonzo Mourning and the other ample guys they have involved in this organization, I'm not sure if this is a route the Miami Heat are going to attempt to actually pursue. I would see them to go out and try to move someone like Terry Rozier possibly. Check out the next episode on Heat Digest for an entire breakdown on his situation this offseason, but also just moving players like Terry Rozier, opening up more cap room as well as another roster spot, trying to go out and get another complimentary guy who's actually going to be a substantial piece to this organization, not only off the bench, mentally, emotionally, but also physically on the basketball court, where they can go out there and they can play more than 10 to 15 games, and they can be relied on to actually produce offensively or defensively or both, regardless. I don't know if Kevin Love's going to be that guy. And in the mix of him getting sent away to Utah, he tweeted this, and you guys know throughout the entirety of this season, in particular after the Jimmy Butler situation, Kevin Love has really played the role of a comedic relief on social media, whether it be Instagram or Twitter. As he went on to tweet, "Never thought I'd be a math problem. Welcome to the NBA." And this was tweeted 10:56 a.m. on July 7th, following that trade that we referenced earlier, bringing Norman Powell, the slashing two-guard, to this Miami Heat organization. Overall, Kevin Love in Utah still has not been bought out yet, but it seems like it is ever so likely that he will be, as Legion Hoops posted this just a few days ago, saying that it seems extremely likely that he will be bought out and then look to sign with a championship contender, whether it's the Lakers on the outskirts or someone like the Denver Nuggets or elsewhere, to really be a physical and emotional substantial piece to that organization, where he can be a booster, a role model, and really just a father figure to a lot of these younger guys in particular, and these inexperienced guys that simply have not had that long of a career and really no playoff experience. Let me know down below what your overall thoughts and opinions are. Do you think the Miami Heat are going to look to acquire Kevin Love once again and run it back after he departed just for about 15 minutes? I'll see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.